Jurors are continuing to deliberate the fates of 5 members of the far-right Oath Keepers group.
That's right. The group's leader, Stewart Rhodes, and 4 associates are charged with seditious conspiracy and other felonies in connection with the January 6 attack on the Capitol. You see them on your screens there. If found guilty, they could spend up to 20 years behind bars. We want to bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson now to discuss this case. Jessica, it's always great to chat with you because you simplify what can be quite complicated strands of legal cases so often. Prosecutors spent months putting together this case against the 5 that we just showed viewers. What's the core argument here?
The core argument is that Stewart Rhodes and the other people you saw on the screen, the other alleged co-conspirators, planned for everything that happened on January 6th to happen, or that at the very least, it was the reasonable and foreseeable consequence of everything they planned. So we heard about 8 weeks of testimony in this trial. And what it boils down to is the idea that Stewart Rhodes and the other people that you see on the screen there, that they planned, that they had a meeting of minds, that they were architects, and that they bought weapons, that they planned routes, that they told their followers, here's what we need to do. We need to make sure that Joe Biden does not become the president, that Kamala Harris does not become the vice president. And if President Trump doesn't do that, then we're here to do it by force.
So, Jessica, you know that Rhodes took the rare step of testifying on his own behalf during the trial. What was his defense? And, you know, I know that lawyers almost always caution their clients against taking the stand in their own defense. Do you think did it help his case or did it hurt his case?
Well, we'll know in a few hours or a few days. So you're exactly right, Vlad, that it really is the moment of last resort to say to a client, okay, take the stand. And so in a way, we can read that as indicating that they thought there really was no better option because, of course, it opens him up to cross-examination. Now, what he tried to do by taking the stand is further the narrative that his defense team had put forward, which is there's a line between all of the text messages that he sent, all the planning he engaged in, and what happened on January 6th. That he said the people who stormed the Capitol were quote unquote stupid, that he didn't want that to happen. So you can't blame him for the storming of the Capitol, the loss of life, the property damage. You cannot convict him on these seditious conspiracy charges or other charges that basically say you're trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. And the other thing that he said is this idea that I was just using bombastic language. I'm allowed to do that in America. And so, yes, some of the rhetoric is heated, but that doesn't mean that I engaged in a conspiracy. But really, the crux of his defense was, you can't blame me for what others later did.
And we should highlight Rhodes is a Yale Law School graduate. So he comes to this not as the other defendants might, with a little bit of experience. One other thing that jumps out at me, all 5 of them are facing the most severe charges to come out of January 6th. Talk to us about the significance of the seditious conspiracy charge, what it holds, and what prosecutors then need to prove.
Well, this is the most significant trial to come out of January 6th, and seditious conspiracy is a charge that we really don't see very often at all. We've seen it, I think, twice in recent memory in the last few decades, and it is difficult to prove. You need to show that somebody tried to put down or overthrow or destroy, those are the key words from the statute, the government. And this isn't just you tried to thwart the peaceful transfer of power. You tried to prevent Congress from counting electoral college votes. It is a heightened charge. And I think that's why we're all talking about it here. Now, again, they do face up to 20 years. There are other charges in this case. And what prosecutors tried to show throughout the trial is look at the text messages, look at the videos, look at the actions that they took. There was a meeting of minds. They took actions to try and further their desire to overthrow or put down or destroy the government. And don't become numb to this. This is something we heard from the prosecutors in the closing arguments and throughout the trial. Don't become numb to this type of rhetoric. It's not just bombast. Words matter and they lead to actions, and you can see the actions that took place on that day. And in fact, that this conspiracy, the prosecutors argued, continued after January 6th. Again, they have a lot of receipts here. And so it will be really interesting to see whether or not the jury is able to come to a decision that really would be historic, saying that at least for one of these defendants, that they are willing to find guilt on the seditious conspiracy charge.
All right, Jessica Levinson, always great to have you. Thank you so much.